The stars didn't shine for humans on the outer rim. At least, that's how it felt to Captain Mara Cade every time she looked out from the cracked viewport of the Endeavor. The void beyond was vast, silent, and different. The cold glimmers of distant suns blinked like silent judges in a courtroom that had already sentenced humanity to oblivion. The Galactic Council of Ancients didn't just dismiss humans, they cast them aside like broken toys. Once vibrant, thriving colonies closer to the galactic core had long since been abandoned. Humanity was pushed farther and farther away, dumped at the edge of civilized space, a no-man's land where law was a myth and survival was a daily gamble. Mara's crew knew the score. They weren't heroes. They weren't explorers in the grand tradition. They were scavengers, salvagers, and sometimes mercenaries, anything to keep the Endeavor running and food on the table. The ship itself groaned in protest as the old fusion drive strained under the weight of their latest haul. "Captain, sensors are picking up some kind of energy spike near that dying star," called out Jax, the ship's reluctant but brilliant engineer. His fingers flew over the worn console, trying to make sense of the flickering signals. "It's weak, barely there, but it's definitely something." Mara's eyes narrowed. This part of space was supposed to be dead. No life, no tech, nothing but ghost ships and long-forgotten wreckage. That was exactly why they were here. The Outer Rim didn't get inspected by the Council starships. That meant whatever you found here was yours for the taking. "Plot a course," Mara ordered. "Let's see if the ghosts left us any gifts." The Endeavor lurched and tilted, pushing deeper into the shadow of the dying star, a celestial corpse cooling into darkness. Radiation levels climbed, and the ancient ship's shields flickered under the strain, but Mara's crew held steady. "This place feels wrong," muttered Lyra, the ship's navigator, her voice barely above a whisper. She rarely complained, but even she couldn't mask the edge in her tone. "It's like the whole system is dead." Mara looked back at her crew. 5 souls clinging to hope in a universe that didn't care. Jax wiped grease from his hands and shrugged, trying to lighten the mood. "Dead or not, dead space means unguarded space. And unguarded means profitable." Profit was what kept the Endeavor alive, and in this galaxy, it was the only currency that mattered. Mara knew the Council's disdain ran deep, but she wasn't about to fold under their judgment. "We're not here to please anyone. We're here to survive. And maybe," she said, voice low but fierce, "we're here to prove them wrong." Jax grinned, but Lyra just shook her head. If only survival were that simple. As the ship closed in on the signal's source, the crew gathered in the cramped common room, a space barely larger than a closet. The artifact pulsed faintly on the sensor screen, a shimmering node of energy nestled on a small asteroid orbiting the dying star. It was unlike anything they'd seen before, alien, ancient, and humming with a silent power. Mara's heart quickened. "Prepare an EVA team. I want a closer look." The ship's airlock hissed as Mara, Jax, and Lyra suited up, stepping into the vacuum of space. The asteroid was scarred and pockmarked, frozen in eternal orbit. They landed with practiced precision, boots crunching on dust older than any human memory. Jax approached the artifact cautiously. It was a crystalline structure, glowing with shifting patterns of blue and gold light. It didn't look like tech. They had seen plenty of that. But something more organic. Alive, maybe. Mara reached out, fingers trembling. The moment she touched the surface, a surge of energy shot through her arm. The artifact pulsed, sending a burst of light that illuminated the asteroid's shadowed craters. Suddenly, Mara's vision blurred. Images flashed behind her eyes, star systems exploding, civilizations rising and falling, and a whisper, a voice carried across the void. "The key, the last hope." She stumbled back, gasping, overwhelmed. "What is it?" Lyra asked, alarmed. Mara shook her head. "I don't know. But this isn't just some piece of junk." The signal from the artifact began to grow stronger, pulsing through the Endeavor's systems as if alive. Jack swore under his breath. "Captain, This thing is interfering with our comms. If we bring it back, the council will know. Mara's eyes burned with determination. Then we bring it back carefully, quietly. Back on the ship, tension hung thick in the air. The crew argued heatedly. Some wanted to jettison the artifact and run. Others saw it as their ticket off the rim and into legend. Do you realize what this means? Mara said, pacing. If the ancients want this artifact, it's because it holds power they fear. And if we control it, we control our destiny. Lyra crossed her arms. Or we die trying. We're just humans, Mara. Outcasts. We don't stand a chance. Mara's gaze hardened. That's where they're wrong. Outside, the Endeavor drifted silently, the artifact glowing softly in the hold, a beacon in the darkness. And somewhere in the depths of space, eyes far older and crueler than humanity's watched and waited. The Endeavor drifted through the cold emptiness of space, the faint glow of the artifact pulsing steadily beneath the reinforced glass of the containment chamber. It was no longer just a mysterious relic. It had become the heart of the ship, the beacon around which hope and danger now revolved. Captain Mara Cade sat alone in the command chair, her gaze fixed on the flickering patterns of light. The artifact seemed almost alive, radiating an energy that buzzed in the air and hummed through the ship's circuits. It was whispering to her, or maybe to all of them, in a language they could not yet understand. Captain, you need to see this. Jax's voice crackled over the comms, cutting through the silence. Mara stood, stretching the tension from her shoulders. She followed the engineer to the dimly lit lab, where Jax hunched over the main console, eyes wide with disbelief. It's sending signals, Jax said, motioning to the screen. Patterns I've never seen. It's like it's trying to communicate, but not in any code I know. Lyra hovered behind Jax, concern etched on her face. Could it be a trap? The ancients are known for leaving booby traps. Jax shook his head. No, this feels different. Almost like it's alive. It's pulsing, adapting, reacting to us. Mara's mind raced. If the artifact was truly alive, if it was some kind of ancient intelligence, what did it want? More importantly, what could it do? Suddenly, the ship's sensors picked up a distant transmission, garbled and faint, but unmistakably alien. Incoming message, Lyra said, fingers flying over the console. The signal filtered through, a broken voice in a language none of them understood. Is it from the artifact? Mara asked. No, Lyra replied. It's from somewhere else. Somewhere, much closer than before. A chill ran down Mara's spine. The galaxy was vast, but secrets had a way of attracting unwanted attention. The crew gathered in the briefing room, the tension palpable. Arguments erupted. Should they try to decode the message, attempt contact, or hide the artifact and escape? We can't just run, Mara said firmly. If someone's sending messages this close, they know about us. They want the artifact. Lyra frowned. Who would risk chasing scavengers for some old relic? Jax leaned back, rubbing his temples. Power. Knowledge. Maybe a weapon. We're dealing with something bigger than us. Suddenly, the artifact flared brightly, and Mara felt a sharp jolt of images flooding her mind. Stars exploding, ancient wars, a cosmic collapse. The artifact's memories, she whispered. It's showing me everything. The visions were overwhelming, but one truth stood out. The artifact was the key to an ancient power that could reshape the galaxy. We have to protect it, Mara said. No matter what. Outside, unknown eyes watched the Endeavor, and the hunt for the artifact had only just begun. The Endeavor didn't have long before the first attack. Mara's warning was grim, but clear. They were no longer alone in this sector of space. Someone, or something, had detected the artifact's awakening and wanted it badly. Jax's hands trembled slightly as he adjusted the ship's systems, rerouting power to the outdated shields. I don't like this, Captain. Whoever's coming, they're not playing around. Sensors picked up a fast approach, no friendly signals. Lyra, staring at the approaching contacts on the view screen, nodded grimly. Pirates? Mercenaries? Or something worse? Ancients. The Galactic Council's enforcers were supposed to keep order, but their reach never extended this far. Yet Mara had no doubt. The ancient powers that once ruled the galaxy were watching, waiting to snatch back what humanity wasn't supposed to possess. "Get us ready for combat," Mara commanded. "Arm the turrets, prep the crew. If they want to fight, we'll give them one." The Endeavor shuddered as thrusters fired, the crew bracing themselves for the inevitable. The enemy ships burst from the shadows, sleek, alien vessels bristling with weaponry, silent and deadly. Mara's heart pounded. Outgunned, outmanned, but never outwilled. "Target their engines," Mara shouted. "Focus fire. Disable, don't destroy. We want that artifact intact." The battle erupted in a dazzling display of laser fire and evasive maneuvers. The Endeavor twisted and weaved through the asteroid field, her crew working in perfect unison despite the odds. Jax's voice cut through the chaos. "Hull breach in Section 3. Reinforcing shields, but it won't hold long. Keep firing," Mara yelled. "We're not giving up that easily." Amid the flashing lights and sirens, the artifact pulsed with increasing intensity. Mara felt it inside her again, visions of long-forgotten wars and ancient civilizations on the brink of extinction. Suddenly, the enemy ships pulled back, their sleek forms slipping away into the black. "Retreat," Lyra breathed. "Why?" Mara's eyes narrowed. "They want us scared. They want us to run." But Mara wasn't about to let that happen. "We're not just scavengers anymore," she said quietly, more to herself than anyone else. "We hold the future in our hands. And if they think they can take it from us, they're wrong." The crew set to work repairing the damage, the glow from the artifact a steady reminder that their fight was only just beginning. The Endeavor floated in the outer rim's shadow, battered but unbroken. The alien ambush had rattled the crew, but it also ignited something fierce inside them, a spark that refused to be extinguished. Captain Mara Cade stood on the bridge, watching the dim pulse of the artifact beneath reinforced containment fields. Its light danced like fireflies in the dim cabin, but the power it held was anything but delicate. "We can't outrun them forever," Mara said, voice steady but fierce. "We need to fight smarter. We need to get stronger." Jax wiped grime from his face, eyes bright with ideas. "I've been working on an upgrade to the propulsion system, a hybrid drive that could give us bursts of speed no one on the rim has seen." Lyra stepped forward, determination in her gaze. "And I've been running simulations on the artifact's energy signature. If we can tap into even a fraction of that power, we could amplify our shields and weapons." Mara nodded slowly. "Good. Use everything we have. Scavenge, hack, jury-rig, whatever it takes." The crew threw themselves into the work. Every hour was a battle against time and technology, cobbling together scraps from ancient wrecks and forgotten stations. The Endeavor groaned as Jax rewired engines and Lyra calibrated sensors, their fingers flying over worn consoles. Meanwhile, Mara reached out to other outcast species, traders, smugglers, and rebel fighters who had long been ignored by the ancients. At first, they met her with suspicion and disdain. Humans? Why help the outcasts who got themselves stuck on the rim? One grizzled alien captain sneered during a tense negotiation on a dusty space station. Mara met his glare evenly. "Because they underestimate us. Because when the galaxy's greatest powers come for the artifact, they won't just get us, they'll get you too." Slowly, alliances formed. Ships once enemies now shared knowledge, weapons, and resources. Mara's ragtag fleet grew in strength and spirit, but with every upgrade came a new danger. The artifact's power was unpredictable. It hummed and pulsed, sometimes sending sudden bursts of energy that scrambled the ship's systems or left the crew disoriented. One night, Mara awoke to a sudden surge. The artifact's glow filled her quarters, and a whisper echoed in her mind. "Unlock the fire. Unlock the truth." She rubbed her temples, the message unclear but urgent. It was as if the artifact was reaching out, testing her. "We're playing with something we don't understand," Lara warned later, her voice low. "This isn't just technology. It's alive." Mara didn't answer. She knew the risk, but she also knew they had no choice. "We'll learn," she said. or we'll die trying. As the Endeavor grew stronger, so did the enemy's resolve. The galaxy's shadows were stirring, and the fight for the artifact was far from over. But for the first time in a long while, humanity's fire burned bright. Days bled into nights aboard the Endeavor, a blur of ceaseless work and cautious hope. The artifact's glow was a constant presence, sometimes a whisper, sometimes a roar, but always a mystery. Mara sat with Lyra in the ship's lab, eyes locked on the artifact's shimmering surface. Jax was nearby, tinkering with the newly upgraded hybrid drive, but the hum of machines was drowned out by the tension in the room. "We've tried everything," Lyra said softly, tracing complex patterns of energy on her console. "It's more than just power. The artifact is a puzzle, and the pieces don't fit with anything we know." Mara sighed. "There has to be a way to unlock it, to understand what it really is." Then, suddenly, the artifact pulsed brighter than ever before, sending a surge of energy that knocked the ship's lights into a strobe flicker. Alarms blared, and the crew scrambled. "Artifacts reacting," Jax shouted, struggling to stabilize the ship's systems. "Power spike off the charts." Mara grabbed her calm, all hands. "Brace for impact." The Endeavor shook violently as an unseen force rippled through space, warping the very fabric around them. Then, silence. When the shaking stopped, the artifact was no longer just a passive relic. It had changed. Its crystalline surface now pulsed with intricate symbols, glowing scripts that none on the Endeavor could read, but all could feel. It was a message, or perhaps an invitation. Lyra's fingers flew over her console. This is a language, not just alien, but ancient, predating the ancients themselves. Mara's heart thundered. "What does it say?" Lyra hesitated. "It's fragmented, but I caught one phrase, the catalyst, bearer of change." Jax raised his eyebrows. "Sounds like it's talking about someone. Maybe us." Mara stared at the artifact, now alive with meaning. If this is true, then the artifact isn't just power, it's a key, a trigger for something bigger. Suddenly, the ship's comm crackled with static, then a clear voice. "You carry the catalyst. It awakens." Mara froze. The voice was cold, distant, but unmistakably real. "Identify yourself," she demanded, heart pounding. No answer. Just a long silence, then a final whisper in her mind. "Prepare. The awakening is near." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The stakes had just shifted from survival to something far greater, a cosmic event that could change everything. Mara's jaw tightened. "We're not just fighting for the artifact anymore. We're fighting for our future." Outside, the stars blinked, watching, waiting. The Endeavor hummed through the darkness, its crew poised on the edge of a revelation they barely understood. The artifact, now pulsing with cryptic light and language, had become more than a prize. It was a beacon. Captain Mara Cade stood at the bridge's viewport, watching stars slip by like ancient witnesses. The message had been clear. The awakening was near. But what did that mean? A war? A cataclysm? Or something else entirely? Lyra approached, her face pale but resolute. "I've been decoding more of the artifact's language. It speaks of a catalyst, a force or being that triggers the rebirth of civilizations. And it's linked to us." Mara's heart pounded. "Us." The artifact responded strongest to human neural patterns, Lyra explained. "It's as if it was waiting for someone like us, someone with the fire, the resilience." Jax glanced up from his console. "So, we're the key to whatever this thing does next." "Great. Just when I thought our lives couldn't get more complicated." Suddenly, the ship's alarm screamed. The artifact's glow intensified, bathing the bridge in an eerie blue light. Energy surge, stabilizers at maximum. Jax shouted, fingers flying. Mara clenched the armrests. "What's happening?" The artifact emitted a low, melodic hum, filling every corner of the Endeavor. Then, images flooded Mara's mind. Vast starfields collapsing and reforming, civilizations rising and falling, cosmic storms of fire and light. "It's showing us the awakening," Mara whispered. Lyra nodded, eyes wide. "The artifact is catalyzing something in the galaxy. A rebirth or destruction, We don't know which. Before anyone could react, the ship's sensors detected multiple incoming vessels, ancient warships, long thought lost, now resurrected from the depths of space. Their hulls shimmered with the same symbols as the artifact. "They're here," Mara said grimly. "The ancients have come to reclaim their legacy." The battle that followed was fierce and unforgiving. The Endeavor's crew fought with everything they had, propelled not just by survival instinct, but by the knowledge that their fate was tied to the artifact's mysterious power. Amid the chaos, Mara realized something profound. Humanity's fire wasn't just in their technology or tactics, it was in their unyielding spirit. "We fight not just for the artifact," she yelled, "but for our right to define the future." As enemy ships fell, the Endeavor surged forward, the artifact's light blazing brighter than ever, a symbol that even in the darkest void, humanity's flame would never be extinguished. The battle had ended, but the Endeavor's journey was far from over. The ancient warships had retreated, but the echoes of their assault lingered in the ship's trembling hull and the crew's weary hearts. Captain Mara Cade stood once again before the artifact, now resting quietly in its containment chamber. The pulsing light had softened, as if the relic itself was gathering strength, waiting for the next move. Lyra joined her, eyes scanning data streams cascading across her wrist display. "The artifact isn't just a key or a weapon," she said slowly. "It's a repository, an archive of the ancients' history, their triumphs and failures, locked inside layers of encoded light." Mara frowned. "Why give us this knowledge? Why awaken it now?" Lyra shrugged. "Maybe it was waiting for a species capable of change. A species with fire. Us." Jax leaned against a console, exhaustion evident, but a spark of curiosity still alive. "The data is vast. The ancients created and destroyed countless worlds. Their power was immense, but their arrogance fatal." Mara's mind raced. The artifact was both a gift and a curse, a legacy from a civilization that burned too brightly and too fast. "We need to understand this history if we're to survive," she said. "If we carry their legacy, we must learn from their mistakes." As the Endeavor's systems absorbed the knowledge, a new message arrived, a holographic projection of an ancient, their form shimmering with ethereal light. Bearer of the catalyst, the figure intoned, voice echoing across time. "You stand at the crossroads of creation and oblivion. The awakening will reshape the galaxy, but only those who wield the fire of change may shape its fate." Mara stepped forward, heart pounding. "What must we do?" The ancient's image flickered, a smile tinged with sorrow. "Choose wisely. The power within can rebuild or destroy. The legacy of stars rests in your hands." The hologram faded, leaving a silence heavier than the void outside. Mara's crew gathered, the weight of destiny settling over them like a shroud. "We fought to protect the artifact," Mara said. "Now we must decide what to do with it." Jax looked around. "Destroy it? Use it? Hide it? Every choice has a cost." Lyra's voice was steady. "Whatever we decide, humanity's fire will be the catalyst. We are the legacy of stars." Mara's gaze hardened. "Then let's make sure it's a legacy worth leaving." The galaxy watched, breath held, as humanity's flame prepared to blaze a new path, one that could either save the stars or burn them all. The bridge of the Endeavor was quiet, the hum of the ship a steady heartbeat against the vast silence of space. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, a tapestry of possibility and peril. Captain Mara Cade stood before her crew, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the artifact resting in its containment field. The weight of their choices pressed down like gravity itself. "We have the power to change everything," Mara said, voice calm but resolute. "But with power comes responsibility. The ancients' legacy is a warning, a blaze that consumed worlds and civilizations." Lyra stepped forward. "The artifact's energy is stable now. We can control it, harness it to rebuild, to protect, to push the boundaries of what humanity can become." Jax cracked a rare smile. "And if anyone tries to take it from us, they'll learn why humans fight with fire." Mara nodded. "Our path is clear. We'll become the catalysts of a new era, not just survivors, but creators. The crew gathered around the artifact, a silent pact forming. They would protect this ember of tomorrow, nurturing it against the darkness. As the Endeavor charted a course deeper into uncharted space, Mara felt something shift inside her, a burning hope, fierce and unwavering. The galaxy was vast, filled with shadows and ancient secrets, but humanity's fire would light the way. Set a course for the heart of the rim, Mara ordered. There are others like us. It's time to unite. The stars outside shimmered brighter, as if acknowledging a new dawn. And somewhere, in the depths of space, the first ember of tomorrow ignited, a flame that would burn through the darkness and herald a future forged by human will, courage, and unbreakable spirit.